Good morning, everybody. Thank you for letting me be here today. I'm Father Harry Jenkins, most recently from Slidell. I'm still from Slidell, but anyway. So I look forward to talking to you guys afterwards, hopefully a little bit, just visiting. But today's a spirit-filled day in the church, and that's where I want us to be. This is my thoughts about the gospel, and not just the gospel really, the other readings as well. That's really where I'm focusing today. Receive your gift, release the fire. There are varieties of gift, but the same Spirit. There are varieties of services, but the same Lord. There are varieties of activities, but it is the same God who activates all of them in every one. When the day of Pentecost had come, the followers of Jesus were all together in one place. We heard this in the reading. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. And we heard this, that the followers of Jesus began speaking to the crowds of people from around the world in their native language and were teaching about God. That first Pentecost must have really been amazing. Most people didn't even call it Pentecost. It was the Festival of Weeks, a harvest festival. We know about festivals. Many of you participate in them. That we have in New Orleans, all kinds of festivals. And I imagine the Festival of Weeks was probably very similar to the festivals we have here. People from all over the world were there in Jerusalem to celebrate. And there were tourists who just came to see and experience a big festival. They were also busy enjoying themselves, and for the most part, they didn't notice what was happening in that house right over there, where the disciples and other followers of Jesus were hanging out. Maybe just a few people in the crowds that were there that day saw something. It's hard to say. Maybe one person saw what looked like some kind of a tornado appear out of nowhere and settle right on top of the house. Someone standing nearby might have described it as an explosion of wind and fire. And guess what time of day all this happened? 9 in the morning. 9 in the morning. We also know the names of some of the people who were there. Peter and John, James and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James, son of Alphaeus, Simon the Zealot, Jude, the son of James. And there were also women there, including Mary, the mother of Jesus, as well as his brothers. And they were all constantly devoting themselves to prayer. Altogether, there were about 120 people. That's when it happened. The Holy Spirit came down as some form of fire and lands on them, the men and the women. And they're never the same again. Changed forever. It would have been a lot easier for the followers of Jesus to quietly leave town, walk past the crowds and just blend in, go back and start their life over somewhere else. Maybe go back to fishing or farming. But that's not what happened, is it? Something caused them to do just the opposite. They were drawn into even deeper commitment to Jesus. They were set on a path that would lead them to do many great things and actually put their lives in greater danger. The fire that didn't burn the house down connected and ignited a spiritual fire, the same fire that burns deep in all of us. When a person learns spiritual techniques such as different forms of prayer that one can practice, if they stick to it long enough, they'll discover that in their deepest, darkest corners of their soul, that God is already there. The fire from on high, the fire that appears on that first Pentecost, awakens the followers of Jesus and empowers them like a match to start a bonfire. On that day, both the men and the women received the gifts of the Holy Spirit. There was no turning back. And that's why people often wear red on, what is this, tomato sauce Sunday? I love that. I've never heard that before. That's just wonderful. I know that's tied in with your food ministry, but tomato sauce Sunday, Pentecost Sunday. We're remembering that the first Pentecost, that exciting day that changed people's lives forever. And maybe you understand it now why Pentecost is often called the birthday of the church. The followers were given their birthday presents. The candles were lit, the flames ignited, and each of them were burned with holy fire. The wind of the Holy Spirit breathed on them and fanned the flames that were already deep within. One writer said that the birthday of the church took place in a terrible fire. Well, maybe not so terrible, but powerful, life-giving, life-changing. The followers were no longer just followers, they were witnesses. They were no longer disciples, they were apostles. They were no longer in denial or uncertain about the Jesus that they knew. They were given spiritual gifts that allowed them to reach out, to speak out in a way that even people from far-off locations could believe and understand. When we are baptized by water in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, we too are given spiritual gifts that as we discover who we are, come flaming out of us, exploding, shining, reflecting the love of God into the world. We're also witnesses through our actions to a God that willingly sacrificed his Son to give to the world victory over death. And then, just as he has promised, sent the Holy Spirit into us so that we continue to learn how to share that love with others. Receive your gift. Identify what God has given each of you. Discover what already burns inside of you. Light your fire. And remember, don't hide your light, your fire, under that bushel basket. Don't hold back. The world needs your gifts to make a better place. We can't sit back, like the song says, waiting for the world to change. We cannot always say, I'll do it next week, next month, when I retire, when my kids are older, when I have the time. When. If you wait until the right time, that time will never come. There's no perfect time. Receive and discover your gifts. In closing, I want to share the words to a song that I used to hear sung by youth groups, where they would always sing this at happening weekends on retreat. And I get emotional when I read them, so forgive me if I do. But these are the meaningful words to me. I can't sing them, Matt. Sorry, I should have brought the music for you. But I stand to praise you, but I fall on my knees. My spirit is willing, but my flesh is so weak. I feel your arms around me as the power of your healing begins. Your spirit moves right through me like a mighty rushing wind. Light the fire in my soul. Fan the flame, Lord, make me whole. You know where I've been, so light the fire in my heart again.